Good afternoon. This is Judge Alyssa Perez presiding over the 210 District Court Criminal Docket for November 14, 2023. All matters being heard today are being heard in accordance with all emergency orders and directives regarding remote proceedings. In addition to that, we are streaming all matters live via YouTube for public viewing. Mr. Marufo, who's our first case?
Top of page 15, Judge. Downtown, may we have Jesus Lara.
Is that yours, Mr. Rago?
It is, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
In cause number 2023-0D02100 and 2023-0D03309, State of Texas versus Jesus Daniel Lara. Announcement of counsel, please.
Good afternoon, David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
Jeff Rago on behalf of Jesus Lara, we're ready, Your Honor. May I proffer?
You may, and Mr. Lara's appearing remotely as well from the downtown jail. Mr. Rago, yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Lara has two children. They were born 11/29/14 and 3/29/18. They're basically 5 and about 9. He does have a duty to support them. They live with him part-time. He's also living with his girlfriend who has cancer, and she's been kind of supporting him recently since he's been incarcerated. He's a lifelong resident of El Paso, U.S. citizen, and has had a job when he went in. We're hoping we can keep his job when he gets back out, and we believe he can. We'd like to see him back out. I know he's got some history right now, Judge, that's come up quickly on most of these other cases before us, not before you, but before the court. We've got non-process on, and we expect to be able to take care of those. On the case before the court, I know I have a video of the complaining witness the night before almost beating his door down at his own travel trailer where he was living when he was doing construction at the time. And it's interesting, and I need to get that over to the state. We were waiting for this to be indicted and get before the court. So kind of changes the whole dynamic of what it looks like on this. And right now I think you pulled his bond based on some of the other things that were going on. And right now he's going to have to post approximately, I think, close to $10,000 in bonds on the other ones. And he hasn't posted those yet because we're waiting on this one.
I think I remember, Mr. Lara, I think Ms. Rago was covering it was an in-court proceeding. I'm just trying to go back and look. Was it the fact that he picked up the new cases? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Sean. Exactly.
Okay, Mr. Vandenberg, are you handling? And so he must be at 100,000 on, is he at 100,000 on each of these?
I'm not sure. I know you pulled his bonds, though.
Ms. Welch, do you know the bond amounts?
Yes, so in cause number 2023-0D02100, it's a no bond since that was an order to detain.
Okay.
On cause number 2023-0D03309, the bond is $15,000 because it was a non-arrest. It was issued by the district clerk office. And then he does have a brand new case, 2023-0D07199. The bond amount for that is $22,500.
On 3309, you said it's 15,000?
Yes, 15.
Okay. Okay. And that 7199, I don't believe we called it or it was set today. Was it did we just get the indictment on that one?
Yes,
I think we barely got the indictment.
It's a very recent case.
And what is it a violation of protective order as well?
Ag assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay, I'm going to assume, but tell me I shouldn't do that. We got the same complainant in every case?
No, most of them are Erica Guerrero. The recent case, the 7199, is that also the case before the court today. 3309, the same complaining witness, Erica Guerrero. In 2100, the complaining witness is Nicole Stewart. And may I go forward, Your Honor?
Give me 1 second. I want to look at the violation affidavit. What was the alleged date of offense on the ag assault?
Yeah, September 19th.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Vandenberg.
Your Honor, the state opposes reduction in bond for the following reasons. One, you already pointed out, mainly the same CW, Erica Guerrero. The case ending in 3309 is a burglary of habitation. In that matter, the allegations in the case are that there's an 8-year-long relationship with Ms. Guerrero, and in this matter, in the middle of the night, Mr. Lauer forced his way into Ms. Guerrero's home, slapped her, choked her, did damage to her vehicle. And then we also have the recent aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. In the other matter, 2100 with Nicole Stewart, I think the facts there are a little bit more concerning. She was at a Lowe's doing some shopping, and he threatened her. Apparently, according to the allegations, he tracked her via GPS, tracked her whereabouts, and saw that she was with some other man, and kept on reporting to her movements through his cyber stalking, which caused great concern to her. I've spoken with both of these women. They're both very concerned of his being released and him coming back and assaulting them or threatening him in various ways. He has, according to the allegations in 2100, the ability to cyber track people. And he also has just physically walked into a house in the middle of the night to assault one of the CWs. So the state does not agree for any reduction in bond. And in particular, just the simplest fact is, even though he has an order not to go close to the CW, he has gone back and committed an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against Ms. Guerrero. I think he cannot control himself, Your Honor. And he is a danger not only to the CWs, he can be a danger to other people in the community.
I'm also seeing, I'm not sure if it's kind of a case that's in transition, but that evading with a vehicle has a cause number now, 2023 0D07273. So we have 4 cases now.
That's correct.
I know it was listed on the violation affidavit, the evading with a vehicle, but now I see it has a cause number.
There's also a P file that's recently out.
But I feel like that, well, I see that as if you're talking about P file 07197,
Yes.
that's a violation of protective order capias, and it looks there. Jasmine, can you tell me what that 2023 P file 07197, because it looks like you all had a bond hearing, Mr. Rago, last week, and that the surety bond was reduced to $1,500 there.
We did have one last week, Judge.
Yeah, so the charge is violation of a protective order. Date of offense is 6/3/2023.
But that's a misdemeanor VPO? Is that
Yes.
what it is? Okay.
Misdemeanor class A.
Okay, so it's not, okay. Oh, goodness.
And Judge, if I could respond briefly.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Kristen Stewart, that's the one with the 2100. That's the one that we have the video of her the day before this supposedly happened at night. She's beating the door down of his residence, and we are disputing the allegations of the tracking ability. As far as the other complaining witness, we also have non-process from her, because there's a lot going on there that I'm not going to go into right now, Judge.
Sure. Well, we're here at a bond hearing. I think when he was originally taken in, it was on that 2100 case. And then I'm seeing, at least with respect to the ag assault, the evading, I mean, that's what was on the violation. So the request to reduce on 3309 is denied. As to 2023 0D0 2100, I'm going to set his bond at 25,000 split, 20,000 cash surety, 5,000 PR. He's to commit no new offenses, not have any contact, direct or indirect, with any of the complainants. So I understand there's more than one complainant here. Curfew, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Subject to testing, to use no illegal drug or alcohol, possess no weapons. The ag assault, on the ag assault, what is the allegation?
Let me look that up, Your Honor.
There, 7190. A knife.
Yes, Your Honor.
The date on that one.
He removed a pocket knife in the middle of a verbal altercation, waving the knife in a threatening manner at the complaining witness.
So we were here on when the 27th, we had trials. So I think it would have been the 24th when we had our final hearing plea deadline. So a month before trial, allegedly, he's committing these offenses.
And the allegations are that he used the knife against the CW. We have photographic evidence that he hit her on the left side of her face, Your Honor.
And that is the ag assault at 22,000. That one's going to stay the same if you were asking for any type of reduction on that one. So I'll leave 2,100 at that 25 split, 25,000. Any other conditions? In terms of the VPO, was he alleged to be at her home? Was it at work? Part of the conditions is, I'm assuming there's still a protective order in place. He is to comply with all the conditions of the protective order, obviously. So every one of those detailed conditions in the protective order will be part of his bond conditions. What do we know, Mr. Vandenberg, on those VPOs? Is he just going to the house, or is he going to the business? Is he?
The information I have is that he has gone to Ms. Guerrero's residence.
Okay.
But in the recent e-file, I don't know.
In any event, the conditions of that protective order, underlying protective order, will be the conditions of his PR component of his bond. Anything else?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Myrna, we need to get all of these cases coordinated on a trial track. So the additional cause numbers are going to be 2023 0D07273, 2023 0D07199. They may not be with us yet if he hasn't been booked on them, because I think, yeah, sometimes that's a holdup, but if you'll check. Alrighty.
And
Thank
Judge,
you.
can you tell me on the ag assault, what is his bond right now?
It is 22,000.
Okay, was that the 22,500?
No, I think it was just 20,000. Jasmine, is that what it was? I wrote down 22,000.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excuse, Your Honor.
You are. Thank you.
Thank
Who's next?
Second on page 18, Judge. Downtown, may we have Rivas, Jose Rivas.
All right.
That's mine, Judge.
Okay.
Good
Can we get
afternoon.
like half of my afternoon docket, Mr. Saray?
Yes,
In cause number 2023 0D00524, State of Texas versus Jose Cruz Rivas. Announcement of council, please.
Chantal Ortega for the state. The state is ready.
Gabe Saran for Mr. Jose Rivas. Ready to proceed, Your Honor?
And Mr. Rivas is appearing from the downtown jail. We're scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Sarang, what is his bond?
He's on probation, Judge, so I am not sure.
Probably a no bond. Go ahead with your request to reduce bond. Or
Yes,
set.
Judge. Judge, he was placed on probation on February, and he tells me that he reported once, and then he panicked because he didn't have a job, so he stopped reporting. Since then, he's got a job. He understands what he needs to do. He's willing to do everything the court wants him to do. And he was arrested October 20th, so he's been in jail for 25 days. And the defense asked that perhaps the court could take the 25 days as a ACOP type and extend him for the 6 months that he didn't report and have him back on probation, Judge. The probation case is assault peace officer. And of course, during the period of time from February to November, he didn't pick up any new offenses. So that goes to his credit, Judge.
Okay, so he reported once. It looks like he's got some out. How long has he been in El Paso? Because he's got some priors that are in Midland and
He says he's been in El Paso for 17 years, Your Honor.
how long is that?
17 years. He was born in Phoenix, Arizona, Judge.
He failed to appear bail jumping in Midland. We've got drug cases again. Mitchell County. Then we get to El Paso. He's got a dismissal. He's got a dismissal here. We dismissed something probably pursuant to a plea. So he's got some issues appearing to court. All right. Anything else, Mr. Sarang?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Miss Carla, were you going to say something?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to clarify for Mr. Sarang. Mr. Rivas got placed on probation on June 27, 2023.
Oh, I have that he was booked on February 2nd, but I see. Thank you.
Okay. Is this Miss Ortega's?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state opposes, any reduction in bond. He has stated that he knew he needed to report. He didn't do so. And what he was alleged to have done is strike Alan Prado about the face or neck, face or head, knowing that he was discharging a duty. So while the conviction shows that he has a disregard for the law, he also has shown a disregard for the rules of this courtroom. And so we ask that bond be set appropriately for this defendant. It is a second-degree felony, so he's facing quite some time should he be convicted. So we ask that you would take that into consideration when setting a high bond.
Bear with me. I do want to look at the report. I mean, basically, we don't have anything. Carla, is that right? I mean, he reported once and that's it.
That is correct.
My
Your Honor.
understanding.
So it's basically 3 months, Judge, since June to September.
And actually, Your Honor, he didn't report. There was just a phone call with his officer where he was provided with reporting instructions and he didn't report to him.
So he pled and took off. Okay.
So he says he panicked because he lost his job, and so he figured he couldn't pay, he couldn't do anything.
Did he panic, Mr. Riaz? Did you panic in Midland too when they couldn't find you over there? It's too much panicking, Mr. Sarang. Much panic.
Rivas.
Huh? Yes, don't say anything, Mr. Rivas. Look, he doesn't have a bond right now. He's on deferred, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So he's entitled to a bond. Unfortunately, Mr. Sarang, the court is wholly uncomfortable with your client's history, not only here, but what I'm seeing in his PSR. So what resources are you appointed, Mr. Sarang?
I am, Your Honor.
He has no resources. He's indigent. So I don't have a motion from the state yet. I do not see anything outstanding other than this. So I'm taking Mr. Sarang at his word that he didn't pick up anything else.
I don't see anything else, Your Honor, just that he had that previous split bond, the $10,000 on the cases that were dismissed before.
What were
he
the
filed
cases? Oh, I know what
The
you're.
injury to a child and elder, yes.
I got it. I got it. So his bond is $50,000 cash surety. Let us know. We'll set you for probation status in 30 days. And then after that, pre-revo and however you want to go forward. But if the state is asking for revocation, I need a motion, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Sarang. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you, Judge.
Rivas. Who's next?
Judge, I have an interpreter here for bottom of page 14 for Dominguez, Jaime Dominguez, Judge.
Okay,
Annex, may we have a Jaime Dominguez?
Ms. Lozano, thank you.
Yes, sir, it's come right up.
Ready, Ms. Lozano.
Are we connecting?
I started the interpretation.
So Ms. Lozano, if you would, or Annex, I need you to select Spanish, please. And then Ms. Lozano, are you familiar with the interpreter function on the Zoom? Oh, maybe she already selected it because I can't hear her. I'm sorry, Ms. Lozano, I had to select English. Are you there? Okay, I can't hear her.
Let me turn it up, Judge. Okay, Judge, it's off.
Can you hear me now, Judge?
I can. We're going to turn on the interpretation function.
Yes.
I don't know what instruction to give you in terms of how you go back and forth. I know
Okay.
Annex has to select Spanish and I'm going to select English. So if you'll please start the function, Mr. Marufo.
Yes.
Are we connected? Are we ready?
It's connected, Judge. It started.
I can't hear you, Mr. Marufo. Mr. Huffman, are you there?
It started, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Huffman, are you there?
I'm here, Your Honor.
I can't hear Mr.
Yeah.
Huffman.
No? Can you hear me, Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, can you
Have
hear
you
me?
called the case,
Hey.
Mr. Marufo?
I haven't called it. You want me to call it, Judge?
Yes, please, so I can see if I can hear people.
Okay. In cause number 2016-0D05494, State of Texas versus Jaime Dominguez. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. State is
I
ready.
can't hear Mr. Vandenberg.
Oh,
Judge,
can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
Rick Huffman, on behalf of Mr. Dominguez, we're ready.
And Mr. Dominguez is appearing remotely from the jail annex, utilizing the assistance of a court interpreter, Ms. Margarita Lozano. We are scheduled today for a pre-revocation hearing. It looks like we just need a number on this one. We have a motion. He was an absconder. What do you have for me, Mr. Huffman?
Well, Judge, this case is from 2016. He's been released since 2017. Your Honor, this was under a gram possession of controlled substance. I don't have access to the lab report, but I'm guessing it's on the lower end of less than a gram. I don't think Mr. Dominguez has any priors before that, and he definitely hasn't had anything since that. But it's true. He did abscond, Judge, and the reason being is he was about to lose his home. He has a daughter and two sons and a wife, and they were having some very financial difficulties, and he had to leave to work so they could keep the house. And he went to Arizona to work. And again, Judge, he stayed out of trouble the whole time.
Yeah, but he didn't do probation.
He did it, Your Honor, and we certainly acknowledge that. He's been in jail for 3 months, Judge, and I'm hoping that there's another alternative. You know, he's got a very, very little criminal history. He is a United States citizen, and his family needs him. He still lives with his daughter, who's a student, and a wife, and he is the main breadwinner. And you know, they need him home. And Judge, we're hoping that there's some kind of alternative. He's on deferred, so I'm hoping that the court might consider either possibly dismissing the motion to revoke, or possibly modifying him to a straight probation. I think 95 days in jail is enough, Your Honor. This is the type of case that he probably could have gotten like a time served type deal. But he did. He left, but he had, I think, a good reason, and I hope the court might take that into consideration.
Okay. Who's handling this one? Is it you, Mr. Vandenberg?
Yes, ma'am, that's me. Well, Mr. Huffman is right about at least one thing in this. It was a relatively small amount of cocaine, 0.17 grams. That's not the issue here. The issue is that he absconded for about 6 years. This was not an onerous probation. He could have, if he were in Arizona, he could have done that there, but he has decided for 6 years he would not have anything to do with this court or the court's orders. And I think that in of itself has to be dealt with, Your Honor. I've looked at his priors. He doesn't have any felony priors. He has a boatload of vehicular violations in Texas. Since this has come up pretty quickly, we don't have a current rap sheet on him. I would have to get a current rap sheet. The last one is from 2016, so that's quite old. So we don't know what his criminal history from Arizona is like at this time, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I would say that credit for time served is not nearly enough, Your Honor. I would ask that 12 months be put on him.
So I don't have a current rap sheet. So Mr. Marufo, if you would please run a PSR. I know this was only set for pre-revel. Run a PSR and I can look at it. Let's come back in 2 weeks. So we're talking November. What's today? No. Yeah, November 28th at 3 p.m. that we're going to reset this pre-revo. Frankly, Mr. Huffman, I'm at 6 months. Credit for time served. He's queuing up time, but there's really nothing to excuse, you know, just not doing it. So that's what I'm looking at. I'll tell you this though, if I get that PSR and he was having a big party over there in Arizona, that's out the window.
Understood.
he ran. It's been a long time. There's really nothing other than to do his time. But that will depend on what I see on that PSR. Okay, so we'll come back in 2 weeks.
Understood, Judge. And I was gonna do some research. He's been working as a trustee. I'm hoping I could find a way that he can get some credit for that time as well. But I'll see if I can research that and get that to the court.
Did they pick him up in Arizona or they got him here?
His family still lives here, Judge. They had always lived here in that same house, but I'm not sure where they picked him up.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that the only case for which we need the interpreter?
I believe so, yes, Judge.
Ms. Lozano, thank you very much.
Aye.
Who's next?
Judge, going back to Mr. Sarang on page 17. Annex, may we have Owens, Angelo Owens?
Miss Welch, are you able to quickly tell me, not quickly, is all the bonds?
Wait, sorry, can you hear me now, Judge?
Yes, I can hear you.
Alrighty, so cause numbers 2022 0D0 2735, 2021 0D0 3120, and 2022 0D0 1672 are probation cases and have no bond. On 2023 0D0 6262, the bond is at 100,000 corporate surety. On 2023 ODO 6537, the bond is at 50,000 corporate surety. And 2023 0D0 6570, the bond is at 15,000 corporate surety. 15.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Did we call him?
No, Judge.
Okay.
It cause number 2022 0D0 2735 and 2021 0D0 3120 and 2022 0D0 1672 and 2023 0D0 6262 and 2023 0D0 6537 and 2023 0D0 6570. State of Texas versus Angelo Jose Owens. Announcement of council, please.
$10 taken for the state. State is ready.
Gabe Sarang for Mr. Owens. Ready, Your Honor.
Is appearing from the jail annex. We are scheduled for bond hearings in each of these cases. He's on deferred on the probations and there are no motions filed yet. So I'm assuming that's 2735, 3120, and 1672. All right, Mr. Sarang, go ahead.
Judge, my client is only 19 years old. He has a GED. Judge, can you hear my dog's barking?
Yes, I think your dog is either advocating or I'm not really sure. It's really loud.
That's what he's doing.
Okay.
He had a GED, worked as a mechanic since he was 7 years old, worked 3 years with a Bloomfield truck and trailer repair. He has some mental issues, Judge, anxiety, manic psychosis, depression, RAD, PTSD. Says he saw his dad shot and killed in his presence at 6 years of age. And he has been getting services while he was out through EHN. Drug use, he admits that he uses cocaine. He's never gone any treatment. He wholeheartedly welcomes treatment. He would like to see if the court would allow him to go to BHRTC. The new drug charge, Judge, he says it's 50 pills and they were for his personal use. The most serious new charge, because he's got the robbery, manslaughter, and evading. The robbery, Judge, is a shoplifting gone bad. The allegation is.
Hey, what is that? What was that?
Shoplifting gone bad.
Oh,
Judge.
I hear. Okay, gotcha.
He was in the process of stealing cigarettes at Circle K, and he allegedly pushed the clerk, causing him to fall. As I said, Judge, he would like to be modified to BHRTC. And he would like to get a a probation rec for the new cases, hopefully, then he will go ahead and plead to those and get modified to BHRTC judge.
All right. Okay. All right, so our new cases are robbery, Mandel, POM, and evading arrest or detention with a vehicle. All right, okay, Ms. Ortega?
Yes, Your Honor. On those cases, the new ones that the court just mentioned, bond is set appropriately. The state's position that this defendant, although young, is a danger to our community. I'll remind the court that the allegation for the robbery for which he's on probation is where he went up to the victim and asked for the car keys and threatened him, and then took off in the victim's car while the person was putting gas at a Circle K. So I don't know if it was the same Circle K or a different one that's involved in this current robbery, but in that one, he stole some cigarettes and then ended up punching the clerk after being confronted as to why he was walking out with the merchandise. So he is a danger to our community. The evading stems from an interaction with law enforcement where they pulled him over. They had recognized him from previous encounters, knew that he had a warrant. He asks them why they pull him over. He tells them, and then he just drives off. He just takes off in the vehicle. So at that point, the officer made the decision not to pursue, presumably, I'm guessing, because of the danger that does pose to our community. This defendant also, I'm showing on his rap sheet, has a parole violation. I double checked all the information. It does show that that's in San Juan Sheriff's Office. I don't have that information for the court. That's all that I'm showing. But finally, I'll just say the allegations on the Mandel, as Mr. Suring had said, it's 50 pills, I believe is what Mr. Suring said. And this is a fentanyl, Your Honor. And so, we do intend to prove that he was dealing, but this is not an individual who is ripe for treatment, who keeps assaulting people and putting members of our community in danger. So we ask that you would leave the bond set appropriately and set an equal bond for the cases for which he's on probation. Thank you.
Judge, may I respond briefly?
Okay, of course.
Judge, regarding the robbery, the report says he allegedly pushed the clerk who fell back, did not punch the clerk. In terms of the fentanyl case, Judge, unless I got my facts wrong, and I don't think I have, this is a case where there was a traffic stop, and the officer noticed that he was extremely shaky, and the pills were found in a box in his underwear, and that's not a place where people keep things when they're gonna sell them, Your Honor. And there's nothing else found in the vehicle in terms of scale or anything else. And so he admits that he's got a drug problem, which is why he's asking to be sent to BHRTC, Judge. And regarding the underlying probation robbery, the allegation is that he threatened, and then so there's no violence in any of his cases in terms of his being a danger to the community, Your Honor.
And if I can follow up, Your Honor, I'm looking at the affidavit signed by the officer, Oscar Gabaldon, and it does say by punching the clerk with a closed fist to his face and pushing him.
I'm looking at the affidavit, and I said, quote, the defendant grabbed several Newport brand cigarettes and attempted to walk out the business without paying. The victim stated that he confronted the defendant, at which time he pushed the victim, causing him to fall and hit his head on a beer bin. Oh,
in the next sentence,
the
yes.
victim was then punched. I stand corrected, Judge.
This is very bad. The request to reduce bond on the 2023 cases is denied. Mr. Owing, he is on deferred, so he's entitled to bonds on those 3 cases, if I'm not mistaken. Deferred. I won't go through in terms of the probation cases. Didn't comply from the get-go. I gave him a chance. He was gonna be tested. Within the second test, because he was testing either weekly or bi-weekly, test positive, so, no. Do you have a recommendation, Mr. Tega?
Well, I did let Mr. Sarang know that the minimum on the fentanyl is 10 years, so that's what the state is looking at for that case.
That's about. Yeah, on 2735, his bond will be 100,000, 3120, 100,000, 1672, 100,000. Mr. Owings is, in the court's opinion, an extreme danger to the community. Prior non-compliance, prior history, it's very bad. Mr. Sarang, I do not see any 1622s on his recent booking. So you mentioned a mental health concern. I don't know if he's receiving treatment while he is in the jail. Rest assured that if you would like me to consider his bond again in the future, you provide the court some of that information. I know you gave some diagnoses today, but I seem to remember Mr. Owings may have been receiving treatment when he was in jail. I want to know if he's continuing to do that. I would suggest the state file some motions on those cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Sarang. Thank you, Mr. Owings. Who's
Thank you, Your
next?
Honor. I think I have one more, Judge.
Bottom of page 18, Judge.
Uh-huh.
Annex, may we have Taylor, Frederick, Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Judge, with my record, I should just stop while I'm behind, Judge.
Well, I'm wondering how you have some challenges, not you personally.
Yes.
Yeah, you
have-
got a lot of the serious ones today.
Well, he got a lot of the frequent flyers. He's got tough. Good afternoon, Mr. Taylor. Go ahead, Mr. Monaco.
In cause number 2021 0D02596 and 2023 0D04939, State of Texas versus Frederick Elvis Taylor. Announcement account, please.
And caller take it for the state. The state is ready.
Gabe Sarang for Mr. Taylor, ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Taylor is appearing remotely from the jail annex. We're scheduled for bond hearings. Mr. Sarang, you may proceed.
Judge, his 2596 bond, unless I'm mistaken, is 100,000, and he's on probation for that, deferred. And the 4939, unless I'm mistaken, it's 150,000, Judge. And those are new cases. The allegations are assault deadly weapon. Judge, my client is 22 years old. He doesn't have a G, doesn't have a diploma. He has a son, 2-year-old, Kieran Taylor. He recently separated from his ex. He works at Quemex, metal frames and construction. He has not worked for about 9 months, Judge, because he got shot in the foot. He tells me the underlying facts is that he won a $5,000 on a scratch off. He told his best friend about it. They were going to celebrate. He went over his best friend's house. When he got there and opened the door, he was shot in the leg by his best friend. He called the police. Nothing came out of it. Judge, he walks with a crutch and has a boot on his foot. He has been having problems getting proper treatment for his foot in jail. He said he had to be taken to the hospital a couple of times already. He has lost some feelings in his foot, and his mom is very concerned. The underlying case, Judge, the assault deadly weapon, the allegation is that he shot at the complaining witnesses because they were talking too loud. He says it was not he who shot the car, and the shot allegedly hit a car. He says when he was caught nearby, he didn't have a gun on him, and that he was
He
wearing
did not?
shorts.
Was that he did not have a gun?
He did not, and he was wearing shorts and limping because of his injury. He says he gave a statement to the police, and they checked his hands for gun residue, and we don't have any information regarding that. Judge, there are some cameras at the spot behind where this occurred, and we believe that the video from that camera will exonerate him. We believe that he should be cleared because he's not the one who shot the car. It was another person, the two complaining witness, Judge, they have a long history. As a matter of fact, one of
A
them,
long history with your client or just a long criminal history?
long criminal history. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Javier LeBlanc was arrested on October 17th for ag robbery, ag assault, deadly weapon, 2 counts, and unauthorized use of vehicle. The defense believes that this is a very tribal case, Judge. The CWs don't sound credible when I looked at the reports and compared them with each other. And I suspect they will not be cooperating with the state. And Judge, he has a good relationship with his probation officer, David Bruce, who wants to continue him on probation, Judge.
Anything else?
That's all I have, Judge.
Ms. Ortega?
Yes, Your Honor, all of what Mr. Suring said is true. However, the state also named another victim in this, Alyssa Claudas. She does seek to pursue charges against the defendant for exhibiting that deadly weapon, the firearm, and threatening her with it. But I think that the really important part about this, Your Honor, is that that CW does identify the defendant. She identifies him as by his moniker, his gang moniker, Mufasa. And so that is how the investigation began, because she knew who he was. So beyond and we have already had a bond hearing for this individual previously. So I believe that the court is familiar with the facts and with Mr. Taylor. So we ask that the bond be set appropriately.
So he's, do you have anything else, Mr. Suring?
Judge, Ms. Claudas gives a statement. Doesn't seem like she was really alarmed when the client allegedly shot at her car. In her statement, she says that Ms. LeBlanc says that he and the defendant got into a physical altercation. If the physical altercation is the pushing that Claudas refers to, then it was somebody else. In other words, the two complaining witnesses, statements don't jive, Your Honor.
Understood. Anything else?
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing
Your
from the state.
request to reduce bond is denied. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
You may. Who's next?
Top of page 18, Judge. Downtown, may we have Ray?
We ready?
Yes, Judge. In cause number 2022-0D05535, State of Texas versus Brianna Ray. Announcement of council, please.
And Paul Ortega for the state is ready.
Carl, the coach, Brianna Ray. Good afternoon, Judge Reddy.
Good afternoon, and Ms. Ray is appearing remotely from the downtown jail. We're scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Dakota, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I will be brief. Brianna Ray is 24 years old. When I saw her about a month ago, she was 2 months pregnant, so she's about 3 months pregnant. In like 2020, there's an unadjudicated extraneous CPS case with the complaining witness, whose name is Aries. It's a little kid. Everything went cool. She had to do some parenting classes. Everything went fine. That was resolved in 20, at the end of 20. Because of that, I think she was probably red flagged. So she takes Aries, who is now 4 years old, to the doctors, and maybe in their system or something, they kind of see, well, we really need to look at the little kid. And the little kid has some bruising. Now we're here on an ag assault with a deadly weapon on Aries, the kid, and the deadly weapon they allege is a belt, because what I would contend is a unwarranted custodial interrogation, where Miss Ray kind of says, well, you know, I spank my kid. So that's why we're here, perhaps because of spanking a kid. Now she's been in like 2 or 3 months, and we're really hoping that she can get out. She's been to school to be a registered nurse. She was a manager at Chipotle. Since the 2020 thing, where there was no criminal charges, she's remarried. She has 2 more kids, another one on the way. She's married to Jalen Ray, who I want to say is in the Army. They're just hoping to move on from this, and she just wants to be a good mother to all of her kids. I don't know what the court wants to do. She says that she could send the little kid, Aries, to Indiana with the dad's family, but she just is hoping to get out and resume being a mother and to resolve these cases. We really appreciate your time, Your Honor, and any reduction would be much appreciated. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Ortega, is this yours?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
This defendant, Mr. Kajikos is correct in the allegations in that the victim listed is her own child. I will add in a few more of the facts in that the reporting party was a pediatric nurse who became concerned when she saw what she explained as a hand-sized bruise to the victim's left hip, a finger-sized bruise to the victim's underbelly just above his groin, and a hand-sized bruise to the victim's inner right thigh. After examining her, also found bruising and redness to his buttocks. So all of those are the allegations to give the court a complete picture of what it is and how serious it is, the allegations against this defendant. I will also say that the state believes she's a flight risk. The information that the court has is that she is currently living in Lavon, Texas. I had to do a quick Google search to determine that's about 10 hours from El Paso County. Given that, as Mr. Decode said, this is an offense that occurred back in 2020, and the state's still working to get even more records of what have happened to the children since they moved out of El Paso. We would urge the court to take that into consideration when setting a bond for this defendant.
She said am I correct? Is she said at 40,000 split 39 and then 1,000 PR?
I see 40, Your Honor. Yeah.
And
I see just 40. Yeah.
okay, it is a split 30.
You're right.
39 and 1. So where is your client living, Mr. Dakotes?
Your Honor, do you mind, because I have the kind of out of town deal, do you mind if I ask her, Judge?
Go right ahead.
Ma'am, Brianna, do you have a local address?
Yeah, so my son right now, Aries, is with my mother-in-law and my husband, Jalen, in Lavon, 269. And if I can't leave, I do have an address in El Paso, which is my father's home that I can stay at as well.
Would you mind, just for the record, saying that address? And please don't talk about the case or anything like that. Thanks, Brianna.
The address for where my son is?
For your dad, in case the judge wants you to stay, yeah.
1401 Magruder Street, El Paso, Texas, 79925.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and so that I think she already answered what my next question was, is where the child is. Look, I don't see a ton of history if she can remain in El Paso County. Here's my problem. We don't have a trial track on her yet. And that's a little concerning. Well, it looks like we got it back in the end of October. So
yeah,
to get her scheduled. Anything else on the bond, Mr. Ortega?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. So I'm going to grant the request to reduce the bond. Does she have any resources, Mr. Dakotes?
You know, other than Jalen, the husband, maybe he could come up with some money, but no, she's been out of work, like I said, for a good while. Not much here. Brianna, do you mind, Judge?
No, that's okay. I show her in custody 16 days as of the date of my docket. So it's been a little bit. Do we have any other issues? I don't see any other issues on here.
I don't, Your Honor. And if I could just ask, the 1401 Magruder Street, it looks like that's an apartment complex, and I didn't catch an apartment number.
Brianna, please, if you
The
have
apartment
it.
number?
It's 232.
All right. I am going to grant the request to reduce bond. It is going to be a 30,000 PR bond. She is to remain in El Paso County, may not change her place of residence without court permission. She's to have no unsupervised contact with the child witness in this case.
Okay.
So that was the primary concern there. She's going to report once a month to the PR bond office, commit no new offenses. I think that's it. Yeah. Are you going to be working here? Is she going to be working here? What's the situation there financially?
Sure hope so. Brianna, any prospects on work?
I mean, as soon as I get out, I'm pregnant. I would like to start working so that I can still help send money and get situated.
Yeah.
All right. That's all the conditions I have. No unsupervised contact, no offensive contact with the child victim as well. You said there were other children. Are there other children?
Your Honor.
They are. They're with the husband. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Don't talk about the case again.
So I'm going to say no unsupervised contact with any of the children. Okay. All right. We need to get you scheduled for trial. So we'll get those settings squared away. Ms. Ortega, are there any other conditions in terms of the PR bond?
No, Your Honor. Not from the
Okay.
state.
Then that's the order. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Judge. Bye-bye.
Mr. DeCotes, before you leave, make sure you explain to your client the reporting requirements here for her hearings, although she will be reporting to PR bond. This court requires that you check in here in a specific manner. I don't want you to run afoul. In other words, become a no-show because you haven't checked in with this court, okay? So, Mr. DeCotes, make sure you go over those with her. Thank you very much.
I'll get it done. Call the office,
Thank you.
Brianna. Thanks, Judge. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Who's next?
Page 16, Judge. Annex, we have Munoz, Fidel Munoz.
I guess they're all mine today.
Are you sure, Ms. Ortega? I feel like I heard from Ms. Vandenberg, Mr. Vandenberg.
Yes, I just meant all the bonds. All the bond hearings are mine.
Is that Mr. Munoz?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Munoz, do you speak English?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ivy, this is yours. Let's go.
Number 2023-0D05821, State of Texas versus Fidel Ivan Munoz. Announcement of council, please.
Chantal Ortega for the state. The state is ready.
Ben Ivy for Fidel Ivan Munoz, Your Honor.
And Mr. Munoz is appearing remotely from the jail annex. We're scheduled for a bond hearing. Mr. Ivy, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. My client's bond is set at $270,000, Your Honor. He is a U.S. citizen and a lifelong resident of El Paso County, Texas. He does have minimal criminal history. The only thing that he has is a DWI pending, currently out of CCR 4. He has no convictions out of El Paso. He has no ties to Mexico or any other foreign country, Your Honor. The family that he has, distant relatives, would be in Austin, Texas, and he does currently live with his wife, common law wife here in El Paso, Dana Tovar Ramirez. That address is 7230 Dale Road in El Paso, 79915, and her phone number is 915-266-8798. And there are no children that live at that address with Ms. Tovar Ramirez. My client's currently employed with Shamali Collision Center, Judge, on I-10 and Lee Trevino. He's a body technician foreman. If he is allowed to have his bond reduced, he still has his job waiting for them. He's been a good employee for them for years. We would ask Judge for bond reduction in the amount of $50,000. That's the only thing that he would be able to afford. $270,000 is way too much for him to post, Judge. He's not a danger to the community. I know these are serious allegations, but this happened allegedly in a period of 1 month in January of 2015, if I'm not mistaken, Judge. So there's nothing There's no flight risk at all, and any danger to the community is negligible, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, Ms. Ortega?
Yes, Your Honor. So this defendant doesn't have much in the way, as Mr. Ivy said, of criminal history, except that he did pick up on August 12th, 2023, a DWI misdemeanor that's currently pending. The state also noted, although Mr. Ivy did already address that he had listed an unknown address. And so that's all the information that was given for this defendant. So we do believe that bond is set appropriately based on the nature and circumstances and the seriousness of the time that he faces if convicted of these offenses. But if the state or if the judge is going to reduce the bond, Your Honor, we would ask that it be no contact with AM, the juvenile who's the listed victim in these cases.
So it was initially set at the JMAG at 265 split 270 split 265 and 5 PR. How many are we talking about? One complainant?
Yes, Your Honor. The allegation is that the victim outcried that when she was 7 years old, that the defendant had abused her. She's now 15 years old, and still wanting to proceed.
Is there what is the relationship between the complainant and the defendant?
I believe it's her father, Your Honor.
Yes, a natural father.
All right. The request to reduce bond is respectfully denied. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who's next?
Second on page 14, Judge. And next, man, we have Aguilar, Ivan.
What was that name, sir? Aguilar. Ivan.
Mr. Vandenbergs.
Is that Mr. Huffman?
This one's mine, Your Honor, and this is the one that
Yes, we got the paperwork, we got the waiver of arraignment.
awesome.
Everything's fabulous. Was
And
a bond here.
his mom's ready for him, Judge, at the house, so I think we're good to go.
Okay. Mr. Aguilar, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go ahead and get started.
In cause number 2023 0D0299997, State of Texas versus Ivan Aguilar. Announcement of counsel, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
Rick Huffman on behalf of Mr. Aguilar, we're ready.
And Mr. Aguilar is appearing remotely from the jail annex. Mr. Aguilar, we were scheduled today for a bond hearing, but I did receive documents from your attorney indicating you intend to plead guilty. Is that what you understand we are doing?
Correct.
And I also received a document of a consent to conduct this plea over Zoom rather than in person. Is that what you intended?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're in agreement with that. Okay, let's get started with your plea, Mr. Aguilar. I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. You can put your hand down. I'm going to ask if you'll speak just a little bit louder. I don't know if
Okay.
I'm just having trouble hearing. Would you
Yes,
please
ma'am.
state your name and date of birth for the record?
Ivan Aguilar, 4993.
Mr. Aguilar, as I mentioned, I received documents from your attorney. The first document is marked as State's Exhibit number 1. Those are the plea papers in this case. Within that document, you're guaranteed certain rights, including the right to remain silent, the right to trial by jury, the right to counsel, the right to confront and cross-examine witnesses, and the right to call witnesses on your behalf and in your defense. Mr. Aguilar, do you recall reviewing State's Exhibit number 1 with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand everything contained within that document?
Yes.
Mr. Huffman, have you had more than 10 days to prepare a defense in this case?
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
And did you explain the plea papers to your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has understood the admonishments, rights, and consequences of giving up these rights by entering his plea today?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Aguilar, are you satisfied with your attorney's representation of you?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Huffman, any reason to believe your client is not presently competent to enter his plea?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Aguilar, have you ever been found mentally incompetent by any court?
No, I have not.
Have you ever been examined by a doctor or psychiatrist who has found you mentally ill?
I never have.
So based on your testimony, your attorney's representation, and my observations of you, I'm going to find that you are competent to enter your plea. Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you born?
Here in El Paso?
El Paso, Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in this case, you were charged by indictment with the third-degree felony offense of theft of property in an amount between $30,000 and $150,000. That charge, sir, what is your plea? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making your plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
I will find you are making your plea freely and voluntarily. Mr. Vandenberg, would you summarize the evidence, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Had this matter gone to trial, the state of Texas would have been able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that on or about the 4th day of May, 2023, and anterior to the presentment of this indictment in the county of El Paso in the state of Texas, Ivan Aguilar, hereinafter referred to as defendant, did then and there unlawfully appropriate by acquiring and otherwise exercising control over property other than real property, to wit a Lexus motor vehicle of the value of $30,000 or more, but less than $150,000, without the effective consent of the owner, namely Carla Bazan, with intent to deprive said owner of said property. At this point, Your Honor, the state would request that Exhibits 1 and 2 be admitted, and Exhibit 2 is the 3914 disclosure form.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
States 1 and 2 are admitted. What is the plea agreement?
Your Honor, the state recommends that Mr. Aguilar be sentenced to 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Correctional Institutions Division, probated for 5 years with community supervision throughout the period of probation. The defendant be assessed fine in the amount of $2,000 with $2,000 probated. Additionally, the state recommends imposition of all the standard terms and conditions of community supervision, as well as the defendant perform 200 hours of community service prorated monthly as a condition of community supervision, and undergo UA and BA testing, Your Honor.
Mr. Huffman, is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Aguilar, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Understand that the plea agreement is not binding on the court. However, if I were to reject it, I would allow you to withdraw your plea. If I follow the plea agreement, you may not appeal this case except on matters raised by written motion and ruled on before trial and by permission of the court. The next document I'm going to ask you about is the one-page document entitled The Trial Court Certification of Your Right to Appeal. It is a document that explains your appeal rights. Because this is a plea, bargained, or negotiated case, you do not have an automatic right of appeal. Mr. Aguilar, do you recall reviewing the trial court certification with your attorney and signing that document?
Yes.
Signed by your attorney and signed by the court as well. So on your plea of guilty and the evidence introduced, I will accept your plea and at this time find the evidence substantiates your guilt. I will find you guilty of theft of property in an amount between $30,000 and $150,000, and I will sentence you according to the plea agreement to 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division that will be suspended for a period of 5 years of community supervision. There will be a $2,000 fine, all of which is probated, which means as long as you comply with probation, you won't owe the fine. If you're not compliant, they can collect the fine. 200 hours of community service subject to urine and breath analysis. I do want him screened for MHI and screened through TAP. You will have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless you are working or going to school. Mr. Aguilar, I reviewed the case and I see you have some prior history. I heard Mr. Huffman say, you know, you're going to be living with mom or mom's engaged. I had to do a double take when we started this plea because your booking photo, you look a lot different than you do now. So I'm hopeful that you're in a much better place now than you were when you picked up this case. 5 years probation. I mean, you have a conviction now on this one. You have priors. I mean, it's really seemed to me like an unnecessary situation when I read that complaint affidavit. Bad choices. But my concern is you're racking up a record. You're racking up a record now. So you need to decide whether you're gonna continue to build that record of criminal cases, and then you're gonna be in violation of your probation, and I'm gonna put you in prison. Or you're gonna try and straighten out. Probation will have some resources. They're gonna screen you. And if you need those, I hope you will take advantage of those and utilize them so that you make better choices. You've been in jail a long time. You've been in jail like 200 days. You know, because you were over there and decided to take someone's vehicle. It's not good decisions, Mr. Aguilar. Please don't let me see you back here for the wrong reasons. I am going to ask that we schedule him for a probation review come the beginning of the year, so in 60 days. Mr. Aguilar, I want to make sure you're on track, meaning we're addressing your needs to perform well, because I don't want to have to put you back in prison, okay? All right. All right. We'll see you in 60 days. Anything else, Mr. Huffman or Mr. Vandenberg?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Judge, Mr. Aguilar and I discussed a possibility of once he gets settled, once he gets, stable and proves to court that he's doing what he needs to do, that he might be able to move to Midland to work in the oil fields with the court's permission. But he does understand that that's going to come later and would have to be with the court's permission.
Mr. Aguilar, I'm never in the position where I'm going to impede or come in the way of supporting yourself, things of that nature, but because you're on probation, there's a process. Okay, so if you have real, for example, it's not just, oh, I think I want to go work over there, so I'm going to ask to go over there. No, like if you have real prospects at employment that are out of town, you let your probation officer know with specific details. I will not get in the way of you traveling if that is necessary for you to get a good job, right? If it's out of time, but again, that's all a process. If you're going to want to transfer somewhere, there's a process, and you make sure and follow the rules that probation tells you have to follow to get there. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you, Judge. Nothing from the defense.
Mr. Vandenberg?
Nothing from the state.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you, Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you.
All right, who's next?
Middle of page 14, Judge.
Mhm.
Annex, may we have De Coste? John?
Yes, sir.
All right, is Mr. Munoz is not there yet?
Oh,
He was there a second ago.
He's there.
All right, let's go.
In cause number 2023-0D06193, State of Texas versus John Michael De Coste. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. State is ready.
Mr. Munoz, I cannot hear you.
Because I'm on mute, Judge. Now you can hear me. Max Daniel Munoz from Mr. Decote. We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
And the defendant is appearing remotely from the jail annex. We are scheduled for both an arraignment and a bond hearing. Mr. Munoz, you may proceed on your bond hearing.
Okay. Mr. Decote is a lifelong resident of El Paso, Your Honor. He lives on the west side. I know that what I show here is that this is his second arrest against a family member, and that member being his father. I don't think that it would be good if he gets out on PR bond that he would return to that family home, but he does. Interviewed him. He did say that he had a place to go, Your Honor. And I don't believe that he was employed at the time. And I do believe that he is possibly on medication or should be on medication, Your Honor. That's what I have to present to the court.
Are you aware of some type of mental health diagnosis? Is that what you're telling me?
It's possible based on my interviews with him.
All right, and nothing else? Okay, Mr. Vandenberg, are you on this one?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Okay.
With this one, Mr. DeCoste has prior. He has a prior conviction for a misdemeanor conviction for disorderly conduct. But my concern is that he has a history of family violence. In this matter, he beat his father when his father came back to the house because the father did not bring beer back fast enough. It was a severe beating. A lot of blood was spilled. And the father had 6 staples in his head. The pictures are pretty graphic, Your Honor. And this is not the first time that this has occurred. Mr. DeCoste has clearly an anger issue here. In the most recent case that came up, this is the P file that was filed, and this date of offense is June 22nd. Again, early in the morning, we have another beating of the father in this case. So the state's concerned that it's not confined merely to the father, that Mr. DeCoste has anger issues. He takes them out by beating people severely, causing them to go to the hospital. He's a danger to the community. He is certainly a danger to his family. I think that goes without contest, Your Honor. So we would respectfully request that the bond be kept at the appropriate level it is now, Your Honor.
What is his bond?
Let me-
Well, we're looking that up. Mr. Munoz, where is he going to live if he's not living with dad?
I believe with one of his relatives. One of the problems with this family, a big problem, is that son and father engage in drinking together. So the father sometimes gets into a fight with the son, and the son sometimes gets into a fight with the vice versa, Your Honor. They beat on each other. So going back to there, what I agree would be a danger not only to my client, but to the father. But he does have other places to live, Your Honor.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
If I
Where
can
is-
ask him,
Sure.
Mr. DeCote, where would you be living and not at your father's place? Where else can you live?
I'd be living with my mother for the time being, and then I would report to the PR office once I found a new residence. I'm planning on getting my own apartment.
Okay, how far away does your mother live from your father's home?
About a good 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, and she lives here in El Paso.
Yes,
What's the address that she lives in?
4760 Vista Del Monte.
Okay, and that's on the east side.
No, that would be on the west side.
On the west side.
79912.
Okay, and your father's zip code, what is that?
I'm sorry, my mother's is 79922. My father's is 79912.
Okay, that's not 40 minutes away. That's just connected to each other. Okay.
Okay.
The 22 runs for all the way from Sunland Park all the way to Canotillo, I believe. And that's on the west side of Donovan. East side of Donovan, that's the 1-2. So it's less than 15 minutes at the average, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay, but he has a place to live out
He does
away
have-
from dad.
Yes,
And I'm assuming mom and dad, or you can tell me if mom and dad don't really have they're
Mom-
not out there visiting each other. Dad isn't going over to mom's house or anything like that.
no, Your Honor, they don't, they're divorced,
Okay.
as far as I know.
All right. Did we get that bond amount?
I don't have that information, Your Honor.
I was looking through mine and I don't have that information either, Judge.
Ms. Welch, can you help me there?
Yes, my records reflect 5,000 corporate surety.
Are you appointed, Judge?
Yes, I am.
And so he has no resources towards a bond. You don't have any money for a bond, sir?
Nobody was willing to co-sign for me, and when I came in, when I came in, I didn't have my wallet either. And I don't know what my finances are like now that I've been in here for about 50 days.
All right, I'm sorry, what's the state's position on the bond? Are you objecting to any reduction?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right. I am going to split the bond because I think 5,000 is appropriate for a continuous. I'm going to split it 2,500 cash surety, 2,500 PR. He will be reporting once a month in person to the PR bond office. He is to use no alcohol or illegal drug while he is awaiting his trial. So while he is on PR bond. I'm going to require that he have an alcohol monitor. It doesn't have to be a portable monitor. There's a lot of different ones that are available. So least expensive. It sounds to me like maybe alcohol is an issue here and maybe part of the reason for some of this behavior. So no drinking. He will have a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. unless he is working. He is to have no contact with the complainant. And pick up no new offenses, may not change his place of residence or leave El Paso County without court permission. I think that's it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
May I be excused, Your Honor?
You may have a good
Judge,
day.
how many times
Okay.
would you like for him to test?
Twice a day is fine. Twice a day is fine. Okay.
Thank you.